Spalding. I'm the president of Fontana Distribution.
So how did you get your start in the business?
Well, I didn't choose the music business. The music business actually chose me. I was working for a company in St. Louis, Missouri called Venture Stores, and I was an operation manager in the store, and they appointed me to a new position as the assistant buyer, and it was in music, and I have been at it ever since.
For those who don't know, what is Fontana Distribution?
Fontana Distribution is the independent distribution arm for Universal Music Group, and we provide full physical, digital, mobile distribution services for our label partners, as well as optional marketing and promotion services on an a la carte basis.
You mentioned digital, so have distribution companies changed since the rise of illegal downloads, and in what ways?
Well, first of all, we've all gotten smaller as a result of illegal behavior. I think, in my opinion, it's one of the only examples in business, this business of music that is, that has been so erroneously attacked by illegal behavior to the point where it's cost people jobs and careers. Whether you're a musician, an artist, a label, or a employee of a music company, we've all been hit by downsizing as a direct result of illegal activity. And I don't think there's another example of it being this gross in business today. But be that as it may, to answer your question more directly, we have changed in that we are all operating, very efficient businesses at this point. And as it goes, we're doing a better job, in my opinion, of talking to consumers, attracting fans and customers for artists and brands and labels. And we are also doing a better job of offering a wider range of services inside of Fontana that entrepreneurs, artists, and established independent label owners can use to further enhance their business and aggregate some of the day-to-day services that happen in a record company, in a music label, to do a better job of bringing their artists to market.
Do you think there will be a new model for physical distribution?
I don't know that a new model is necessarily the right comment. I think that the model is going to continue to change. Some examples of that change is that we're, all looking more intently at non-traditional music outlets. For example, as there are fewer record stores today than there used to be. We're all looking for, more and innovative and creative outlets that have, traffic from people who still have an appetite for music that simply maybe aren't as close proximity to a music store as they used to be. On the physical side, I think the other thing that is really important is that we're all looking more intently in the marketplace of how to bring the consumer into a better fan-artist experience. We're offering lots of additional content, lots of video content, extra audio content, bonus packages, bonus content, and lots of different ways so that they can have a more fulfilling experience with the artist when we come to market. So those are just a couple ways that I think it's changing day to day as I see it.
What are your opinions on the rise of vinyl sales in the last couple of years? In 2009, it rose 33%.
Yeah, I think vinyl is an interesting look at the market because people have actually found that listening pleasure and listening experience and the audio differences between vinyl, CD, and digital, they've come to appreciate it. So I think that there's been a resurgence in vinyl because of that experience that I just referred to, that consumers are looking to have a better experience. And vinyl, you just can't replicate the audio audio differences on CD or digital that you got on vinyl, and some people really prefer that. I think also, it's nice to have something like that physical to hold in your hand if you're a real core fan. The artwork's big and everything, you can put it on the wall. There were some great experiences with vinyl for some of us that grew up with it, and I think consumers are really enjoying having that, renewing that experience or experiencing it for the first time, because a lot of the new bands that are doing vinyl and are succeeding in vinyl, are simply that. They're new bands with new customers. They're not classic heritage artists all the time that the core fan base, was even alive when vinyl was the staple of the music business.
With these new acts, new labels, what do you guys look for? What does Fontana look for when looking for new indie labels to distribute?
There's two things that we look for in the beginning, and then we get into some more matrix of the business side of it. Number one, on the emotional side, is we look for great music.
Right.
That's the first and foremost thing. We all want to be into the great craft that musicians and artists are putting out there, and that's what got me into the music business, or kept me into the music. It kept me in the music business, and that's what keeps the staff here at Fontana going, is the great music. So it starts with that. I think the second part of it is we look for a chemistry between the label owner, the artist, and the distribution company, so that we're all working with people that we feel like we can be the best at when we come to work every day. And I think that's a big part of the process, is making sure we line up, that our cultures fit together, that our attitudes fit together, that when we go to market in a very difficult marketplace, that we're not going to market with partners that we really don't want to be in business with. That's very important. And then from there, Eric goes more into, the matrix of, expectations on the artist and label, expectations of sales, of marketing, budgets, planning, timing. All those things then come into play to whether or not that is taken and there's actually a deal to be created between the two parties.
For artists or labels trying to break into that and do distribution deals, like what is some advice that you have for them? Where should they be status-wise? Like, what advice to get there?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's really important to differentiate the difference between a label and a distribution company.
Right.
We get approached by artists on a regular basis that really are looking for a label, because the distribution company is here to aggregate services, put music in the hands of consumers in the ways we described earlier in our conversation. But a label is really there to, help finance, coordinate all of the marketing, promotion, and sales activities that go to put a record out. So I think with the independent community, it's very important to know the difference between the two disciplines of a label and a distribution company. So, my advice is, beyond that, is you got to, be the best at what you do in your local market. So if you are in London or New York, your scene should be bigger there than anybody else out there, and you should be working every day to get that scene bubbling with that, through touring, merchandise, sales, actual digital and physical CD and album sales, I should say, creating a local buzz. That's very important. All too many times, I think people come out of the studio and expect to get a deal. I think that that's doable, and that does happen. But I think the better odds of getting a deal is to lay down some groundwork and got some committed fan base around your movement or music, if you will, or your brand, your own personal brand if you're an artist, and your own collective brand if you're a label, so that there's a real attraction for people in this marketplace to take risks together.
Right.
Music business is risky, and it's a little bit too much to ask for somebody to take all the risk if somebody else hasn't started to help set up that process to ensure that you're going to be successful.
So, CD or vinyl, which do you prefer to listen for pleasure, and why?
You know what? I prefer CD, and because it's hard to have I have a pretty extensive record collection, and it's hard for me to house different formats. And the CD offers me the ability to put it on a MP3 player if I want to be ultra portable. It allows me to go in the car, and it allows me to still, play it in a variety of my home options, frankly. So that's my preference. I do appreciate the audio differences in vinyl, and it's nice to sit down and listen to vinyl once in a while. It's simply inconvenient for me personally with travel and my own personal preferences to be able to tote it around and really enjoy the music that way. So I'm definitely a CD guy. I'd like to give you a plug. There is an organization called musicrightsnow.org that we are trying to petition in America for some, for Congress and the Senate to come up with some laws to thwart illegal downloading. So if you get a chance to put that out there, I'd love for people to take a look at that movement and see what they can do to participate. Anyone can participate, so
definitely.
Anyone who loves music should. It's really important for all of our futures.
For more exclusive interviews and content, please check out entertainmentlinks.com.